So back when the X4 was released, I made a similar video to this one where I put versatility up against quality. Not to favor one brand over the other brand or one camera over the other camera, but to share my experience and give you the answer that you might not find elsewhere. I also want to highlight that I did not pay for the Pocket 3 or the X5. Both these cameras were sent to me a few months prior to the release of each camera, and this video is not a sponsored video from any of these companies, so this is my honest, unfiltered comparison based on my long-term experience using the Pocket 3 and the X5 or a 360 camera. The X4, X5. The X5 is just better, which I also covered in my previous video. If you haven't seen that, go check it out first. But if you're thinking about buying either of these cameras or upgrading from a different camera, let's say a normal action camera to either the Pocket or a 360 camera, hopefully I'll be able to put you in the right direction based on your needs and preferences, based on my experience and how I use these cameras might be similar to some of your use cases. So let's start with the Pocket 3. Now, one of the reasons to get the Pocket 3 is, of course, the image quality. We have a 1-inch CMOS sensor equivalent to 20mm and a fixed aperture of f2. We also have a video resolution up to 4K 60 FPS horizontally and 3K 60 FPS vertically, as well as 4K 120 FPS slow motion. So basically everything you need to capture different types of videos, whether this is cinematic videos, cinematic vlogs, normal vlogs, action sports in slow motion, and so on. I mean, the quality of this is superior, and we also have 10-bit in all profiles, so regardless of being a colorist or not, you can get exceptional looking videos with a tap of one button. Personally, I do like to use 4K 60 FPS because I can slow that down in post to make it look even more cinematic, and also then I sometimes use 4K 120 FPS just to get that high-end super slow motion. Now, the latest update with the Pocket 3 was also the ability to change from 20mm to a medium 40mm zoom option, similar to what we have on the Ace Pro and the Ace Pro 2. And this is perfect if you want to get close-ups or just want to turn your regular videos into a little bit more cinematic videos. As of user experience, the Pocket 3 is just like any other DJI product, straightforward, easy to use without any hidden features, and this is something I really like about DJI. They make it easy for anyone to grab whatever DJI product they want and then just start using it without any hiccups, without any problems, without any issues. It's just straightforward, easy to use. Some of the things I found very useful with the Pocket 3 is also the auto start when rotating the 2-inch touchscreen. So auto start and also auto record if you want that. So I set this to not record when I power it on because I prefer to frame the shots properly before I start recording. But if you turn this on, just look at how fast it powers on and starts recording almost immediately. It's crazy. So if you're in a rush to capture something, this is a really useful feature to kind of speed everything up a little bit. Another useful feature is also the magnetic ND filter system on the Pocket 3. So with the X5 here or a 360 camera, we don't have the ability to use ND filters. And if you want natural motion blur, you need to use manual settings or apply a digital motion blur in the editing software, which looks good in some cases, but not so good in others. And also another thing I really like is that you press hold the button, turns off, and now straight back into the case here. And you can now see how flush that is. Really amazing design on this, and it also fits straight into my pocket. But I really like how easy it is to use these ND filters. One of my favorite things with the Pocket 3. Now, another fantastic feature with the Pocket 3 is also vertical mode. The only downside here is that we're not getting the full 4K resolution, but rather a 3K resolution, which also looks amazing. I just wish that we had an update by now that allowed us to get the full potential out of this vertical mode, and that being 4K, but I guess that is saved for the Pocket 4. What's really convenient is that if you're shooting a video for your YouTube channel and want to switch it over to vertical content, for example, Instagram, TikTok, only thing you have to do is to flip the screen and it goes from vertical mode into horizontal mode or from horizontal mode into vertical mode. So you can, and it also changes the resolution automatically, so you can just flip the screen depending on what you want to record videos for. Let's talk about versatility and the Pocket 3. The Pocket 3 might not be the most versatile or the most durable camera compared to the X5 or the Action 5, for example, but it's small enough to sit in your pocket, which is one of the main reasons it's so popular. So you have amazing quality from a 1-inch sensor and a stabilized mechanical gimbal, and you have 4K, and you have 4K super slow motion, and you have 2 different lens options now, 20 and 40mm, and all of that fits in your pocket. There's also a 1/4 inch mounting option on the bottom here, so you can safely put this down if you need to capture some time lapses, take a photo, or just make some content. Now for audio, we have 3 microphones, internal microphones on the Pocket 3, but it's also compatible with the DJI Mic lineup, which is more interesting than just the internal microphones because the differences are quite noticeable. And you can also connect these microphones either via the receiver directly into the camera or via Bluetooth. Now, when it comes to an audio test with the X5 and the Pocket 3, I'm just going to talk with a normal voice here now, so to make this as fair as possible. The microphone is sitting inside my helmet now, and I'm using the DJI Mic Mini connected to the X5 via Bluetooth. So the Mic Mini has been on the market for a very long time now, and Insta360 has recently released their Mic Air, I think it's called, and I'm really eager to test out the differences between these two, especially when I'm riding a motorcycle. So like I said, currently using the Mic Mini now from DJI. How does this compare to the new microphone from Insta360 when we switch over to that? So I now change over to the microphone from Insta360, the Mic Air. How does this sound in comparison to the Mic Mini from DJI? So which one do you like better? Is it the Mic Mini or is it the Mic Air from Insta360? But for the versatility of creating a vlog or documenting your trips like I'm doing right now, well, this one is just to test the microphones, but I think you get the point. The X5 can now show everything which is going on the front of me, behind me, and to either side, as well as up and down, of course, which is something that you can only do with a 360 camera. And the reason I love using the X5 because it's a much improved camera over the X4, and it has also the low light capabilities. But yeah, just an example of what you can do in real life scenario here now with the X5 versus the Pocket 3, which wouldn't be able to do any of these things, I would say. So when it comes to the overall versatility of the Pocket 3, it's actually something that can replace my Sony a7S III, which I'm recording with right now. Anything can replace my A7 when I'm out traveling. It's just too bulky, and I think any modern pocket-sized camera can do just as well, if not better, though the image quality on the A7 is unmatched. Another feature on the Pocket 3, which is quite useful and something I've been using a lot of, the tracking of the Pocket 3 is doing an amazing job in this case, and it's something I've been using every now and then to make things easier, and also when I capture some cinematic B-roll. So basically I select what I want to track and press record and move slowly to either side, up or down, and this is how you can create a pretty cinematic B-roll of a product or of a person. Okay, so let's round up the Pocket 3 with some pros and cons. I've had this camera for a very long time now, and there's not only pros to this one, it's actually the camera that I've used the least. I mean, I should be using it more because the image quality is just so good on this thing. So I think it comes down to that I'm not sitting still when I make my videos, other than sitting here in the studio talking to you guys. And when I'm out making my video, I'm not doing that typical city or beach walk talking to my camera. I prefer to go out, explore, maybe locations that most people haven't seen before with their own eyes, but through my videos here on my channel. And I don't think the Pocket 3 is a good camera for this, especially when it's not waterproof nor water resistant, and the slightest drop will basically break it because it's so fragile. Another thing is that water, man. The Pocket 3 is not waterproof, it's not water resistant, so this is where it sets some limits to where, when, and how I can use it. So that's a big issue for me when I'm going out to travel, hike, do stuff. But the biggest one for me is probably that walking shot, which is one of the reasons I mainly shoot in 60 FPS or crank it up to 120 so I can slow it down. Having that up and down movement is not something I really like, and also one of the reasons I'd rather take the Action 5 Pro paired with the Mic 2 or the Mic Mini when I do vlogs, or the Ace Pro 2, which both have electronic image stabilization and not a mechanical stabilization like the Pocket 3. And this is basically what you get with a gimbal. So it's much smoother with a smartphone gimbal paired with an action camera than just having this setup alone. Also, you might have seen my gimbal and action camera video already, but if you haven't seen those, make sure to check them out down below. It's basically a video on how to use a smartphone gimbal with an action camera and how you can make your overall videos better, maybe even better than the Pocket 3 in the way that it gives you the same gimbal concept, but also a wide field of view. And you can also take the action camera off the gimbal and then just drop it in the drink because the camera is waterproof. Let's move over to the X5 here. So the X5 has a 5nm AI chip and 2 dedicated Pro imaging chips. The camera is also water resistant and waterproof, so you can capture your videos regardless of how good or bad the weather is. Even though it's not a cinema camera like the Pocket 3, it does capture 360-degree videos, which you can turn into unique cinematic videos with dynamic movement, even when walking in a straight line. So if you just focus a little bit on image quality now, a lot of people seem to, that's their main thing, and I can understand that, but let me show you a few clips here side by side with the X5 and the Pocket 3. So obviously the Pocket 3 will look much better than the X5, but just look at how many clips I managed to get out of a single shot with the X5 compared to the Pocket 3. So the big difference here is that I captured one shot with the Pocket 3, which looks absolutely amazing. But that's also the shot I got. There's no options to change this. This is the exact shot I'm locked to. And capturing one shot with the X5, I managed to turn this into a small short B-roll sequence, I would say, by just changing the angles. So as walking, a side shot, a sky shot, the feet, forward, and so on. And I could also do all the angles if I wanted to, and also the field of view. And this is only possible with a 360 camera. One of my points with this comparison is what do you want to film and where do you want these videos to be shared? Is it just personal or is it for social media? And how are you going to present your video? Is it just a casual view of your life? Is it a travel-based video? Is it a road trip, or is it a vlog? Regardless of what camera you use or have, it's how you present those videos, how you present your videos that matters, and how you turn your videos into something interesting and special rather than copying everyone else's because they hit a sweet spot with a certain camera. And for this particular reason, I think a 360 camera will give you those unique angles, amazing videos in daylight, as well as decent enough low light videos, and the satisfaction of capturing everything with the least amount of effort. Even though editing 360 videos can be time consuming at first, it will get faster with time, and the time you spend on editing your 360 videos might be the same time you spend on framing the shot with the Pocket 3, for example. And is image quality worth more than a well-presented video for you, or will those endless angles that you get with the X5 help you see things differently and maybe give you some creative ideas from the clip you're watching or for your next trip? Of course, there is cons with the X5 as well, like there is with the Pocket 3. The X5 has a shorter battery life and heats up faster in warmer conditions than the Pocket 3. There's also no ND filters for the X5. The image quality is obviously worse than the Pocket 3 and a regular action camera, but it's still usable and more than good enough to document your life for the years to come. Now, when it comes to versatility, user experience, and use cases, I think I covered most of that already, but we do have features like gesture control, Bluetooth connection to intercom, the new Instaframe, which records a single finished MP4 file as well as a 360 video file. Pure video for low light is also the new big thing now, which actually makes this the first ever usable 360 camera in low light. And of course, all the features like single lens mode, me mode, 360 videos in 8K up to 30 FPS, and photos, dashboard, time-lapse, hyperlapse, and DJI mic compatibility. All of which I've been using at different times to make my videos better and more interesting. Basically, there's so much that this camera offers compared to any other regular action camera, and especially the Pocket 3. But what makes it for me is, I would say, the ability to choose. So if I want to shoot 360 videos, yeah, then I shoot 360 videos, right? If I want to go and be in the frame, I can choose between Instaframe, which also gives me that 360 video file for later, which I can edit whenever I want, or maybe I want to use it as a helmet cam, then I can use 4K single lens mode, free frame, 360 video, or Instaframe. There's basically no limits, and I have full power to capture and frame what I want instead of being limited by a camera or a company. I mean, we can go all the way back to my first X3 video, which really made me switch from a normal camera to a 360 camera as my main travel device, and since then 360 has always been my go-to. Just check out the X3 video in the description below, so you'll get a feeling of what I mean. The X5 is also, along all other regular action cameras, it's waterproof, so not only do I have full versatility of the camera and the options that no other cameras can provide, but I also have the same abilities underwater. And even though the image gets worse underwater, I mean, it's never gonna be as good as a regular action camera. It's still good enough to document my trips, and it makes things look a little bit different than just having that point and shoot camera. And you know, the slightest angle will make it different than just a straightforward action camera and all the other shots you make. So I think that is what really makes a 360 camera a good camera, because you can see so many different things from so many different people, because they all have a different perspective on how they want to utilize all the features, and especially 360 videos in a 360 camera, which makes it one of a kind, I would say. If you just look past the image quality and everything that you can do with a 360 camera, it's amazing. It is fantastic. Another thing is also stabilization. If you paid attention to the clips in this video that was shot on the X5, you've seen that all of the clips have been perfectly stabilized thanks to the flow state stabilization. So no matter how shaky you might be, the videos will still look awesome. Just look at this comparison here with the Action 5. Same height, same placement, two different cameras. One of the things I like and don't really like, it really depends on the environment, is the standard color profile on the X5. To me, it's way too saturated and maybe a touch too much when it comes to contrast, so I really hope that this gets improved again, like we saw with the X4, which also had the same problem when it was released. I mean, I do like to be tan, but there is a fine line there. After all, I am Norwegian. However, this is a really simple fix. It's all about desaturating your clip in post and you have the perfect clip. And also something else which some of you might bring to the comments if I don't mention it, it's 10 bits. There's no 10 bits colors on the X5. To me, it doesn't really matter, and I wouldn't personally base my buying decision based off of 10 bits or not. And that goes back to what I mentioned earlier about how you want to present your video and image quality versus being unique and stand out from the repetitive content. But since I have 10 bits on the Pocket 3 and my Action 5 and the other DJI and GoPro products I have, and that so many of you want to have a 10 bit in the X5 or a 360 camera, I will put this as a con for the X5. Now, another upgrade to the X5, which would completely break the X4 and the Pocket 3 when I did this comparison a year ago, was if you drop the camera, so on the X4, the lens would probably be damaged, making the camera unusable, and the gimbal on the Pocket 3 or the screen, which are both fragile, would probably break. So because the X5 has a new design now, you can easily replace the lens yourself on both sides here whenever you need without having to send it back to repair or buy a new camera, which is fantastic. But if you buy the Pocket 3, you will probably use it more or less like a cinema camera or a vlogging camera anyway, so the chances of you dropping it might be pretty slim. But just a difference there if it should happen. Easy replacement, very expensive, and probably end up buying a new one because that's faster, or you have to wait a few weeks for the repair to be done or for DJI to send you a replacement. However, if you only had the budget to buy one and both were sitting around $600, $700, which one would you get and why? There's a line between amazingly awesome videos on the X5 and speechless image quality on the Pocket 3, I would say. I think the Pocket 3 will give you that speechless quality, not necessarily speechless content and speechless videos, because that's where you set the limits, not the camera, but the image quality is outstanding. So if you make videos with a cinematic style, whether this is a vlog, documentary, or a cinematic film, the Pocket 3 does an amazing job. And then you have that amazingly awesome reframe 360 videos coming from the X5, which is effortless to shoot, has less image quality than the Pocket 3 obviously, but is also more versatile and durable and offers cheaper repairs and the option to capture videos day and night just like the Pocket 3, but in 360 videos and with a lot more features. I mean, it's a really hard choice. You have the best from both worlds and both fits in your pocket. So Pocket 3, X5, it's really hard. If you can, buy both. But I really hope that this video could help you in whichever camera you decide to get. Let me know in the comments below. It's a tricky one. It is a tricky one. I would personally, for traveling, you probably know that already, I would go for the X5. But I have both of them as well, so whenever I need to do something which is more cinematic based, or I need a talking headshot or something, I also have the Pocket 3. So yeah, let me know your decision down in the comments below. And again, thanks for watching this long video. Don't forget to hit that subscribe and like button, turn on notifications for the next video. All the links to everything in this video is down in the description. Again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.